Hey everybody, it's Ryan from the WCRT coming at you. Crazy times, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Uh, I think the interaction that we're missing at WCRT and the personal interaction and networking is missing. So rather than just typing up a quick little email for you to read and it gets caught in with your 500 million, this is what my business is doing during COVID updates, would be a little different. So I wanted to send a video message to everybody that's on the WCRT email distribution list to say, I hope you're hanging in. Crazy times, and what's even crazier is now people are arguing and getting kind of personal and vindictive about our feelings about the virus, about the lockdowns, about the economy. And it's getting a little crazy out there, and there's all different viewpoints. What we need to do is focus on us. All right, that is what the WCRT has been all about. For years, we have been talking about how you need to prepare for things yourself and not put your faith in somebody else's decisions to control your future. That you are in control of your own future, and you still are to this day. I've had a lot of people reach out to say, "Oh, I hope you're not getting hammered because of the rentals." And actually, knock on wood, everything has been pretty solid so far. We've actually seen an increased demand for new rentals coming on because people aren't getting approved for loans to buy things as much as they were. We're still selling properties, still getting offers, and the people that are coming in and looking at my houses, you know that they're qualified and they're interested. Because if they're shopping now and they got their pre-approval after all this craziness is going on, you know they're qualified and you know they're serious. We don't have as many showings. We're getting less showings but more results. So it doesn't really change the game as much. Some realtors are probably hurting because there's less clients right now, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's not about the number of clients you have, it's about the number of closings you have because that's when you get paid. Our rentals are still going. We're catching up on a lot of rehab work, and that's terrific. The one thing I will say is if you have the ability to purchase, you should purchase. And here's why. 3 things people need regardless of the economy, regardless of their jobs. We need food, we need water, and we need shelter. I have stated this for ages back in '08 when the collapse happened, which was predicted by the WCRT prior to that. We recover from that. We'll recover from this. I think sooner than later, as more and more testing is done, we're going to find out that the spread of this has already happened, that a lot of us have already had it, and that we can start opening things up. We're already starting to see states do that, and hopefully we can follow the leads of states like South Carolina, Georgia that are already opening. And we'll start to see our economy come back, and we realize the human body is an amazing thing. It's an amazing just how it works, and that we can fight off just about anything that comes as long as we treat our body correctly. If we treat our body correctly, our body will help us. The same thing with our business. If we treat our business correctly, our business will help us. Okay? So in this time, a couple things to remember because I regularly work from home and a lot of you are just now getting to that. So let me just share some of the advice that I've learned over the decades of being self-employed and working by myself. Number 1, you need to set down a schedule. You need to set forth a schedule. You know, you were on a schedule when you would go into the office, into your cubicle, and you knew that you had to be at this time you could take a break, at this time you'd have lunch. You need to maintain that schedule. Don't sleep in until noon. Wake up, get cleaned up, get dressed. Now, you don't have to get dressed in the way you would to go to the office, all right? I saw a pickup truck for a dry cleaner drive down the street today, and I wondered, wow, are they still getting the business? Because people aren't wearing the suits and dress clothes to go to work, to go to church. They don't need that dry cleaning. So I kind of felt for them. But you need to wake up, get cleaned up, get dressed. You're actually going to have a little more time to yourself than you used to because now you're not commuting. So if you lived in Naperville and you were commuting into the city of Chicago, there's an hour each way each day that you were saving. So that's 2 hours that you get back. Now, studies have found that people are actually working during those hours because they're so used to it. That the American worker working from home has been more productive. The problem is there's just less work to do right now. Right? We're being more productive now. Most studies are finding that about 1/3 of everybody working from home is doing so with a cocktail in their hand. So that's interesting. But maintain your schedule. Maintain a separation. Now, if you have kids and you have to give them e-learning, set that schedule. All right, they have a couple hours a day. Set that schedule to work with them and have your schedule to do your work. Maintain it. Set those limits and set those boundaries. Okay, a lot of us when we work from home allow us to get distracted by family and this and household chores. We can still do those things in the same hours we used to do. Keep that separation. Maintain your schedule. Maintain time for just you. We're all in a house stuck together. Everybody needs their alone time for a little bit to veg out, reset that brain, focus on things they need to do. Work with your spouses, your significant others, your family to say, okay, this is our schedule. Create that schedule and adhere to it. We need to do that to maintain a sense of normalcy. You can still talk to neighbors. You can still go out. You just got to maintain your distance. So make sure you go out and get outside, get that fresh air, exercise, set a time of the day that you do that, and you can talk to people. The one thing that a lot of people who work from home miss is that social interaction. They miss having someone to go to lunch with or what have you. You can still do that. You can have that social interaction, reach out to your friends, do a video chat like I'm doing now to you. That helps. Get out and go for a walk. Talk about anything besides the virus, besides business. Talk about, the ESPN Bulls special. Talk about what flowers you're going to be planting or how you're maybe thinking about putting in a garden. Again, we're gaining time back in a lack of commute. So what are we going to do with that time? Now, as it pertains to real estate, obviously foreclosures have been halted. Obviously, evictions have been halted in courts. Now, we're going to start to see those loosening up again, I believe, personally, because we just can't do it. Unless the government is going to backstop money and they're out, they can't do it. Obviously, for whatever reason, Congress isn't in session right now and voting. They all went home, and we, the American people, are hurting for money. So something's got to give. So the only way is to start to loosen things up, and local governments are hurting for money and they're not getting backstopped by the federal government. It's sort of crazy. But in order to get money moving, they're going to have to see some loosening of things. I've seen many states already say the elective surgeries can now go back at hospitals because we're not even close to the levels that they had predicted in the hospitals. And we need the elective procedures to keep hospitals open, because if hospitals close down, once all this is over, we know, how do we get access to our medical emergencies then? If you have a heart attack, now you got to go 10, 15 minutes away instead of 5 minutes away. And time is of the essence when you're having a heart attack. So I think we're going to start seeing that personally. But again, foreclosures and evictions are shutting down, which means sheriff sales are not there. People aren't being forced to sell despite getting the notice in the mail. Some will still want to, so you can still do your marketing out there, and some are still selling. Title companies are still open all across the states. We're still able to get things done. It's a slower process because you can't go into the recorder of deeds. You can't go into the county buildings and make those recordings. You're having to make appointments, drop off all of your paperwork with a payment, then the next day you go back and get it back, and hopefully that clerk did all the recording the proper way with all the different offices. You may not realize that when you do a closing, the reason there's that recording and fee is because there are multiple offices in every county you have to record with. You have to go to the assessor, the auditor, the treasurer, and of course the recorder of deeds. You just don't record a title. You have to learn all those other different bodies. The tax bill has to be sent somewhere. The transfer stamps have to be paid with the auditor. The assessor now may have to change the assessment, because if you are buying an owner-occupied property and turning it into rental, it may be viewed differently, and vice versa. All those offices have to be notified and properly recorded. So that's why you have that recording fee on there, because there's a lot. Plus, of course, there's just a fee for them to process documents. All right. So the process might be a little slower, but it is still happening. It is still happening. We can still get through it. It's sort of like all the new security that got put into place at schools, at sports arenas, when we started having after 9/11 and some of these attacks. We started having to go through metal detectors just to get into a ball game. People still got through. The game still started on time. We figured it out. This process might be a little slower. We'll figure it out. We always do. All right. Usually what happens is there's a massive swing to the other side. So we're working here, maybe it's too loose. And then we tighten up way too tight, and then we come back in the middle where it should be. That sort of thing. It's like, driving. You swear to avoid something, then you yank it back, and then you got to find out where you should be. Kind of that logic. We can do this. All right. Now think about, okay, if maybe we're not seeing brand new foreclosures come through for people who buy a lot at auctions, how do they get product? Well, there's still other resources out there. All the product that didn't sell at an auction that maybe the banks took back and they're stuck, and boy, do they need capital right now. Maybe they're going to dump it. They'll dump it and give you a deal. I don't know. I can't predict it, but I'm thinking that is what might happen. So they're going to be sticking all that inventory that they've been kind of just lollygagging with because the market's good. They need to dump it and dump it now. They need to get liquid just like everybody else. So they're going to start dumping it. And if you have the capital resources, you might be able to get a good deal. All right, so start thinking of alternate ways. The people who succeed are the ones that think differently. Don't follow the herd. Be the leader of the herd. Okay? All right. It's just the Bears defense in 85 was unique because it was the first one to do the 46, and then everybody started copying it. And then offenses figured out how to fix it. But they were elite for that while. As long as you keep innovating, you're going to be there. And that sort of thing. Don't rest on your laurels. Keep changing it. So again, maintain a sense of normalcy in your life. Maintain a pattern. Get a schedule. Get up every morning. Make sure you eat healthy. Make sure you exercise. And also make sure every single day you find time for yourself. Even though you might have a household of people, find time for yourself to just clear the mechanism, if you will. And then start to dig into the business. If you've been laid off, if you've been furloughed, this is a time for you to study things and learn how online systems work. Learn about the foreclosure process, where banks do with the property when they take it back, about how things are recorded, about the tax ratios, about the values, about the rent values. What are some of the rental codes in your area? This is the time for you to educate yourself. Because when this door is opened again, we're going to come out running. There are going to be some people who aren't. And guess what? The people who come out running are going to be the ones that are going to be successful. You might trip and fall because you're trying to run too fast, but get back up and keep running. Okay? This is that time. It appears obvious also to me that Governor J.B. Pritzker is one of the slowest reacting governors in the United States. He's still poo-pooing the treatment of hydroxychloroquine, which is beyond me, because if these patients are really struggling and really dying the way they are, what's the difference if we give them the drug? Let's give them that chance. Let's give them that glimmer of hope. And he's still poo-pooing it. We're still way behind on testing compared to other states. We were tragically unprepared as a state here in Illinois. I think the study came out that we only had like 60,000 in an emergency fund. We are tragically behind. We're still putting resources into testing if someone is already positive, even though regardless if the test comes out or not, the states are still saying, yep, they had it. Whether you're test positive or not. I'd rather test people to say if they had it, get those antibodies, and start using therapeutic treatments of pulling the antibodies from somebody and injecting them into a third party to help them. And Illinois is tragically behind on that. So what does that mean? It means we're going to be doing a virtual meeting probably for May. All right. The May meeting would have been May 7th. We're going to have to do it online. And I'm asking all of you to respond to the weekly email with a topic, because some topics I can't do unless we're in person. And I have to find someone willing to sit in front of their computer with a video capability to do a presentation. I did one. I actually have done two this month, and I hope you enjoyed the one I did where it was just a basic Q&A. And I hope you enjoyed the one where I did about private lending and being an alternative financing. So the next one will most likely be on May 7th. but share a topic. What would you like to know? And I will do my best to find a presenter. To a presenter, and find. Oh, even if it's just me, maybe I'll do the topic. But look for the link to come on the Zoom platform. Again, it'll be a webinar, and you guys can tune in and learn. Real estate doesn't stop. Again, food, water, shelter. Shelter is always there, and that's what real estate is. I've got my nice little home office. I'm blessed. I've worked my butt off for it. And I hope all of you sincerely are well. And I honestly miss all of you and miss all of our meetings from the north side to the north suburbs to the cigar meeting and, of course, our main event. I hope after this is all done, people realize the benefit of getting out and meeting in person and the benefit of getting together and networking and discussing and just being around people, the energy we have. We are a social people. We need to be around people, and I hope you don't take it for granted and skip meetings after this. We miss you. Good luck. If you have questions, reach out. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/WCRT Chicago. Also, we have our Facebook group. There's a WCRT group. The page and the group are different. Page has a public face. The group is supposed to be where we can have discussion. You can post questions in there for others about contractors, about, regulations, that kind of stuff. Feel free to join the WCRT group. Go into the groups tab on Facebook and search for WCRT Chicago and join. And we can start discussions in there. All right. We need to get that group active. This is the time to do that. All right. I look forward to us getting back to normal. But until then, don't just hang them up. Don't just hang them up. Let's keep going. Let's keep rocking. And let's come out firing on all cylinders when the green flag drops. We better be ready to run that race. Take care, guys. Hope you're safe. Lávese sus manos. Wash your hands. Take care.